Good morning, folks. Welcome to this special live from Jerusalem broadcast on inspiring thoughts from the Bible, all the way from Israel to Europe. Folks, we are going to be joining a live Zoom broadcast with several people in Vilnius, Lithuania, that are going to share about their Noahide group. And folks, it's going to be pretty exciting. So we would hope that you set in. So please join us.
Doing okay. Good evening, everybody from Jerusalem. Good to see you all. I see that there is another one here that is a bit muted. Let's put him inside above. Okay. Hi, good evening. Welcome all. Welcome from Israel. And we're starting tonight a few sessions that we're going to speak to learn from the Bible. And the learning is going to be good teachings, from the Bible itself. So it's for everybody, not only it's for everybody who is seeking to hear the words of God. I will start with something that the Midrash is, I will say maybe a few points that are very important to start with. The first one is that the Hebrew tradition have basically two Torah, two ways of passing on the tradition. The first one is the first one is the written Torah, what we call the Bible. Okay, I'm holding here the Hebrew Bible. And the second one is the oral one. We got two Torah, two things in Mount Sinai. We didn't got only one of them. And we can prove this also from the Bible itself. In the Bible itself, there are a few verses that only if you understand the background, or there is a hidden background that is explaining that there are more things. And this is why I will say we understand the Torah. This is how we understand the Torah. If you want to ask, I'm muting you, so we will manage to hear everything clear and loud in a good way. Can you hear me now? Everything is okay? You can hear me? Okay. So we won't have any noise on the internet. So we have basically, as I said, we have two Torah. We have two inheritance, in the Hebrew studies. And the Midrash, where the Chazal, where the sages of the Israel nation, they are saying all sorts of things that usually those things are not from their mind or what they managed to understand. I explained this a bit last time that we spoke. What happened along the years that we started to forget things. And this is when the sages of the Hebrew nation, they started to write down things that we won't lose them. So one of the things that we have is, and people don't really know that, the beginning of, I will say another short story, and then we will dive inside to the Bible itself. Something like 35 years ago, we had a war. The Hebrew nation, the Israel nation, had a war against people in Lebanon. And at the same time, one of our famous writers, his name is Amos Oz. I don't know if you've heard about this name. He was in Sweden, and the Hebrew nation was supposed to, unfortunately, in this war, to kill some of the enemies. So the king in Sweden, he called this famous writer, and he said to him, "Are you not ashamed? Why are you killing people?" Or he said it's with a different word. It's not killing. There are two different words. One word is basically in the Hebrew language. It doesn't say anywhere in the Bible that you're not allowed to kill. It says that in the Hebrew Bible that it says that you're not allowed to kill, but you do allow to stand for yourself. If someone wants to kill you, you may kill the other one. And the king asked him if we have the right version of the Bible. So I must say that the Bible was written down and was said in the Hebrew version. All of the rest, we have today more than 2,000 different languages that the Bible is being translated to. But all the translations are missing something. They are lacking something. So now we're speaking a bit in English, and I will try to give all the time also few understanding in the Hebrew secrets, I will say it like that, to understand a bit how we are reading this Bible. So the beginning of the Bible, if you're trying to see the translation, it says that at the beginning, God created heaven and earth. But in the Hebrew language, the sentence that is written down is very misunderstood. It's not a correct sentence in Hebrew, and it's lacking something. It says something a bit different. It says that God created heaven and earth for something, for the beginning. And it's lacking. In when you're reading down the sentence itself, you're saying to yourself, but what is the reason why God created everything? And the word that is giving the answer is the word Bereshit, for the beginning. But you're saying to yourself, what is it? What is this issue that because of that, God decided to create everything? And here we need the, I will say, interpretation of the sages and what they're saying to us. And what they're saying to us is, I won't go inside how exactly they're learning it and how exactly they're emphasizing it, but they're saying that you need to read correctly the sentence. And the sentence is saying that God created everything so we will have the right aim in our life and the values of our life. And those values and those aims are basically being transported and being given through the Bible. And the Bible is giving the right values and the correct values and how to put them in each side of them. And this is why God created this world. So if you will ask yourself today, we have two main, if I will divide the world to two different people, or two different type of people. There are those people who are not looking too much to the issue of, I will say, the values, or not seeking for any values, too much values, or they have few values, but it could be with a fight. If I will go to the Russian nation, I'm saying the Russian nation, so they have few values, but part of the values is also to build up missiles for Iran, or to spread a bit of more things of the military to the world, instead of taking the money that they have to give people that they will manage not to starve to death. So those are the values that this nation have. If you will go to other nations, there are other things. Let's go, for example, for the ISIS. The ISIS also, the ISIS of the, that we have today, that we are almost managing to damage them, to vanish them. But ISIS also have few values. We don't agree with those values, and those values are very hard and very bad. Some of them are also killing people. But they have few values, but values can clash between people, between nations. The only side that is bringing up or building up a structure of values that have the right relation that man can have with his fellow man could have with God, and man could have with himself. And when I'm saying with himself, I'm also concluding the issue of man with his wife. This is also part of himself. The only, I will say, Torah, the only place where we have the values in the right manner with all of them together, that it also, if all of us will adapt those values, we will manage also to live together in peace and harmony in this world. This is the Torah that we got from God. And this is why, or this is the reason that God, when he created this world, is that we will fulfill after those values in the right manner. So we can go, now we can, this is, I will say, the opening statement of the Bible. Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. God created this heaven and earth for this reason that we will manage to fulfill those values inside this world in the right way, and we will manage to become at the end of days, to the time that there will be harmony between people, between themselves, and it also will be harmony between the animals, as we know that it says in the end of days. And this is an opening statement. Again, it's connected to a very important issue that I said, that people need also to remember that this Bible that we didn't got only written Bible, we also got something in oral way that it's passing between people. Now, I must explain this issue also as well. And I will give another few words, and then we'll have a break that you will manage to ask questions, those who want to ask questions. The issue of the, sorry, just a moment, let me quiet this thing. The issue of taking sorry, the issue of learning the Bible, okay, and understanding the Bible in the right way. It's something that I'm quoting a few times. I'm quoting also Jean-Jacques Rousseau, that said already in the 1700 that there is a very big debate how to understand the Bible. And he's saying it in one of his greatest book, that until today, all the educators are learning this book. This book is called Emil. At the end of his book, he's saying that when you're looking around, you see that the priests and the people who are moving, I'm speaking about the 17th century, when the Hebrew nation wasn't in the Hebrew land. And he says that the Christian world is sure that all of the things that are being said of the Messiah of Yeshayahu, it's all being related to this man, Jesus. On the other side, he says that all the rabbis in Europe are sure that it's not speaking about Jesus at all, but they are waiting to another Messiah that will come. And he says, we need to wait until the Hebrew nation will stand in their homeland, will have all sorts of universities, and also we call this Bet Midrash, places where they're learning Torah, and they will manage to speak without any fear, and only then we will know the truth. So today we have already our places, and the Hebrew nation came back to their homeland, like Yeshayahu said in his prophecies. And today we can say what we have to say. And this is what we're trying to say around the world, to say or to teach people with the things that we are holding in this heritage along the years. I will give now a very interesting verse or interesting issue that people don't really know. I'm jumping a bit from the beginning of the book to the beginning of our of this week Parsha. Okay, I'm going to teach something from this week Parsha, what we read 2 days ago. When you're looking inside the Bible itself, you will see it's not when you will take a Torah, okay, a Hebrew Torah that is written down in the Hebrew language. You will see that every few minutes there are some small breaks inside. I don't know if you can see it here, but there are some small breaks. You know, the line is stopping. What we call today to put a tab or to put the next line. So we have paragraphs. It's not written down from the beginning till the end. No, it's like one written. It's written down in paragraphs, and some of the paragraphs are with a small break, and some of the paragraphs we have a long line break. And the issue is that it's written down in our Parsha, that the reason is that you can't learn all the time without doing breaks and having some questions and trying to reassess what you've learned. One of the most important things that we need to know And especially because this is a very holy text. So when we're learning something from the Bible, we're learning, we're listening, we're observing, we're a bit with a silent, we're trying to ask questions, we're trying to understand, and then we're going on to the next step. We can't just all the time teach because people need to have a bit of a break to understand what's happening. And this is one of the most important things that the Bible is teaching us in the structure of the issue. So I will give another few minutes. I will say something, and then I will give a few minutes that you will manage to have to ask questions about the things that I said, and then we will continue on. This is why also we're trying to work on this platform. Okay. By the way, I think that it's also being broadcast. I don't know if Dan can hear us. I think that it's also being broadcast on the YouTube. And someone needs to see the YouTube if people have questions. In any case, I want to say another. Dan, are you looking on the YouTube? Dan, on the YouTube? Okay. So if there are any questions, put them here also. Okay, on this platform. I will say another very important thing, and then it will be I will say the introduction, and then I will give you time to reassess and to have questions, and then we'll continue on to learn more things inside this of today. One of the most, if you will ask me, I said in the beginning that we have oral Bible and we have the written Bible. So the written Bible, everybody has it. Everybody can take it. Everybody can read it in all sorts of, I will say, languages. We have today more than 2,000 languages that the Bible was translated. And the oral one was kept very secretly, only in the Hebrew tradition. Now we are today in the fourth stage of revolution, and we're trying to spread the word around. But if you will ask me, what is more important, the oral Bible or the written Bible? What do you say? What is more important, the oral one or the written one? I will surprise you all. The oral one is much more important. And I have few proofs for that. And this will give us the right concept, what is happening here. Okay? We have 70 times the verse, Vaidaber Hashem el Moshe lemor. God spoke with Moses. So we're speaking about something, and then he says to him, Daber el Bnei Israel, speak with the children of Israel. So we see that the main issue of this Bible is that someone is speaking with someone. It is not that something is written down. You know, when something is written down, we are losing the contact. It's basically not someone speaking with someone, but it's more that something is written down and it's speaking with something else, okay? But we are human beings. We are someone. We have soul, we have will, and there is a very big difference when someone is speaking with someone and can see him. And the best way is by seeing him face to face. The internet is very good. I think that it's a very big jump, but it's closing a lot of gap. But it's even better than that to speak face to face. And the Bible is showing us not that God is a structure, I'll say, of something, but it's someone. It's hard to say about God to someone because he's not man, okay? He's God. But God is showing his will to the nation of Israel. God is speaking with the nation of Israel. God is dealing with the nation of Israel. And this is the main issue, that the oral Bible that we have is much more important than the written one. The written one is, I will say, some sort of foundation that we will know the structure, not to move too much to this side or to the other side. Just a moment. I will give you time to ask. Just a moment. I will give a recess. Just a moment. But the most important thing here is that God said his will to the Hebrew nation. And the Bible that is written down here is God's will, what he wanted to tell us. There are things he wants us to listen, and he's speaking with us. By the way, how are we speaking with him back? By praying. So he is speaking with us through the Bible. And Psalms in the Hebrew tradition is being split also to five books, like the Torah that is being split into 5 books. And each book in Psalms is related to the book in the Torah. Like we have Genesis, we have I don't remember all the names in English. Bereshit, Shmot, Vayikra, Leviticus now, and we have Genesis and we have the Exodus. So we have in Psalms also 5. And the issue is that God is prophesying, okay, the Hebrew nation through Moses and others. And he's speaking. So God is speaking with us. He's giving us his will. And man, King David, okay, it's along the history. I won't go inside to Psalms now. But King David is gathering all the things that we are praying back. We're speaking back with God. And there is a very, very important and interesting verse, okay, in Genesis, that it says about Abraham and Avimelech, when Avimelech is taking Sarah. So it says, Ve'ata, Hashev eshet ha'ish ki navihu ve'yitpalel ba'adcha v'chye. Now give back, return Sarah back to Abraham, because he is a prophet, and he will manage to pray for God to repair you from the punishment that you got. So we see there that when people knows how to be prophets, okay, it's something that you need to learn, how to become a prophet. Then you can also speak with God back and pray to him. Today that we lost the issue of prophecy, so we are speaking. The most amazing situation that we are today, I will tell another very important point, that in the beginning, in chapter 1 of Genesis, okay, in the beginning of the Bible, it's already in the verse, on the 6th day, okay, when God is creating man in his image, and then he's saying to him, in verse number 29, I gave you everything in this world that you can eat. But he's speaking. The first thing that we see after God created man, what is he doing? He is speaking with man. And this is what the Bible is. The Bible is not just things that are written down. The Bible is God speaking with us, giving us his will, giving us his values. And when we are learning those words, and we're understanding those words in the heritage of the Hebrew tradition that is connected to the prophecy, straight to the prophecy, we have the lines of rabbis teaching from student to rabbi, student to rabbi. So we are getting connected with the will of God. And this is the issue of the Bible. So the Bible itself, as I said, the world is being built up so we will understand the words of God. Words of God is not just to what is written down. What is written down is secondary to the main issue of speaking, listening to what God has to say to us, and speaking with him. And the most amazing thing is that in the last 24 centuries, we have no prophecy. Because, again, as God created man, the first thing that he did, he spoke with him. It's obvious, you know. He's putting here man, and he's speaking with him, saying to him, you know, eat everything, don't eat from we'll speak about this, don't eat from this tree, from that tree, from the rest of the world you can enjoy in Eden. He is speaking with him. And this is the most important issue that we have to understand as an opening for learning with this Bible. So now I'm opening all the mutes and everything, and people want to ask questions. So this is the time. And also we're going to see, I see that also. Okay, so first first of all, the truth is that we must say that the oral Torah I'm sorry, I need to remute you again because I'm hearing all the time interference in this, because with me, okay? The oral Torah, I can see you still, Dan. I would prefer to see you. I don't need not to see you because of that. The oral Torah was given or was being in this world before the written Torah. Now, it's a bit more complicated, okay? So I will explain this like that. There is a Torah that God took the Torah, and it was, I will say, the structure of the world. But this Torah that God built up the world with, we don't have it here. We don't see it today, okay? And this was, I will say, it's like someone this is how, the Midrash is saying, someone that is trying to build a building. So you know that you are painting on the page everything, all the structure, everything that you need to bring in, everything that you're going to build exactly with the centimeters and meters, exactly everywhere where it's going, everything is going to be. God also had a Torah that he looked, and this is the structure of this world. But this Torah that God created this world with, we don't have it here, okay? We don't have it here. Then the next issue is that God spoke with men. God spoke with people. And this is an oral Torah. This is how everything started. It started with oral. And the next stage, okay, after a few years, a few thousand years, something like that, 2,000 years, God gave also a written Torah that is very, very small, tiny bit of something from this big Torah that he have in heaven. This is how it's working. So the oral Torah is first, and then the written Torah. And I can prove it in a very simple way. In the written Torah, it says that the Hebrew nation went to Egypt, and then God took them out from Egypt. Okay, so, but we know that the Hebrew people already kept few mitzvot before that. Okay, for example, Abraham got the circumstances to do. Jacob decided not to eat part of the leg of every animal. So there are things that we already in the Hebrew tradition kept on. Also, all the 7 mitzvot of Noachide, they are all already being given to Noach at a very early time. And all of this was before the Bible was written, before the Torah was written, before the Hebrew nation went to Egypt. So we have a connection in the oral way that is much more deeper and much more stronger than the things that are written down. Even though today the written down is very holy, it's very, how do you say, sacrifice? This is not, I'm not sure this is the word. It's very holy. So we're not moving any word from this, what is written down. We're not moving any letter. And another thing that I will say, I know that I'm a bit, giving things that a bit early, and we will discuss them later on. When you're thinking about this, when man was in Eden, he wasn't supposed to organize for himself food because everything was there. Only after he came out from Eden, he started to organize the issue of bread. And the bread have all sorts of ways how to do this. Okay, you need to grow up wheat, and then to take it and to take out the wheat from everything else, and to grain it down to become flour, and from flour to put it with water, and then to bake it and everything else. So one thing, he needs to organize for himself food. The second thing, he needs to organize for himself clothes. And the third thing that's happening after he was kicked out from Eden, that he needs to write down. Before that, he wasn't writing down anything. Everything was oral. So again, if you're asking me, and for Veronica, first the oral Torah was given to us. Then after that, we wrote things. Also, with the science, we know that the written things came very, very late. It wasn't in the beginning, okay? We have things that we know. For example, people buried people much before people started to write down things. All the issue of the writing things, Dan, you are a bit expert with this issue. all the things that being written down, it's only things much later than the
Yes.
issue of
from
first
my
man
understanding.
in this earth. We can't hear you. Yes.
I have to mute one.
We can't hear you, Dan. Open your, unmute yourself. Oh, okay. Now, yes, now we can hear you. Yes. Oh, okay, excellent, excellent. So, if we have any more questions, I answered Veronica. If you have any more questions, and Renat, do you have any questions there? People, do you have any questions? If not, we'll continue, but we can also have questions now.
No questions from my side, so we can move on unless.
No? Okay, excellent. We'll move on. Okay, so we'll move on. I want to, so I'm muting you a bit, okay? So it will be, much more clear, the sound itself. Okay. I will continue on, okay? I want to say something that is a bit related. You know, this week, I'm going to jump now to something that we read in our Parsha. And I will try to explain this in the right way. And we'll learn a bit of Hebrew also, okay? A bit of Hebrew. I know that some of you are a bit interested with this issue of Hebrew also. We are going to celebrate at the end of this week the celebration of Purim, Easter, not Easter of Pesach, but Esther of the King Esther, okay? It's a very nice, very short story. A very frightening story, okay? The story that the first genocide that they wanted to do to the Hebrew nation, they wanted to kill all of the Hebrew nation. Haman wanted to kill all of the Hebrew nation. And at the same time, Esther, the queen, she was Jewish, and she didn't told anybody that she is a Jewish. At the end, she told the king that she is a Jewish, and the man, this man, Haman, trying to kill all the Hebrew nation, and they killed him, and they were saved. All the Hebrew nation was saved. And this is a very interesting part of the history of the Hebrew nation, that when they're getting the authority from the nations to rebuild back the Hebrew nation in Israel, and the way we need to pass this part of might, that we might be in a Holocaust. And it happened 3 times in our history. When the Hebrew nation came out from the Egyptians, okay, the old Hebrew nation came out from the Egyptians, and Pharaoh told them, you can go out from the Egyptians, from the Egypt world, and go to the Hebrew nation. So then Amalek, the name is Amalek is coming. The second time was in the old Persian time, when this issue of Purim that we have today, this week, that there was a declaration by Koresh, one of the kings of Persians, that the Hebrew nation can go back to Israel. And in all sorts of reasons, most of the Hebrew people nation didn't came to the Hebrew land yet. So at the same time, we dealt with this person that is named Haman, and he tried to kill all of the Hebrew nation. And the third time was in Balfour, 100 years ago. It was 102 years ago, something like that. But Balfour in the England land, they said, or they gave also declaration that the Hebrew people can come back to their homeland. And from all sorts of reasons, it took us too much long to decide to come back to Israel. And we had this hard Holocaust. But in this, I want to go to a different issue, a very important issue in this story. The issue of this story is that Esther itself, the queen Esther, when she is in the kingdom, okay, and nobody knows that she's a Jewish girl, and Haman is putting, this thing that we're going to kill all the Hebrew nation. Esther thinking to herself, she for herself, she will manage to survive because nobody knows she's Jewish. She's a queen, and nothing will happen to her. And her uncle is Mordechai. He is saying to her, you must go inside to the kingdom, to the king, and ask for your nation. And she had a lot of hesitations. And then Mordechai is saying to her something very, very amazing. Okay, if you keep silent at this time, relief and deliverance will come to the Jews from another quarter. Okay, and then he is saying a very interesting words. Umi yodea im le'et kazot higat lamalchut. And who knows? I'm saying, translating it. Perhaps it was to serve at this time that you attained royalty. And what he's saying to us, basically, he's saying what Mordechai, the uncle of Esther, is saying to Esther. Now you're sitting down very quietly as a queen. But who knows why God put you to become a queen at this moment of time in the history? It's because you have a very, very big mission. And the mission is to save the Hebrew nation. And I want to speak a few words about this issue that God is speaking with all of us all the time and saying to us that we have a mission. And the question is how much we are listening to this mission. And I want to take for that the first word of the book of Leviticus that we read this week Parsha. And the first word is the word Vayikra. I will try to put it on the board, so you will see it also. Give me just a moment. I don't know. The question is how can I put it on the board? How can I show you the? Let's see. How to share. Here it is. Please, if you now, I think that all of you can see this word. Yes, you can see this word, Vayikra. You can see it on the screen. Everybody can see it on the screen. Okay, good with your head. So the word Vayikra is saying that God called Moses. Okay, the word Vayikra is calling someone. Again, as we spoke before, God is speaking with us. Someone is speaking with us. God is calling
Amazing.
Moses. Vayikra el Moshe. God is speaking with Moses. But it's very interesting. In the Hebrew tradition, the word, I will say in a general issue, that each word in the Hebrew tradition is being built up like bricks with letters, okay? And each letter is also have a lot of understanding inside. I won't go inside now to explain this because only this could be a very long session that we're going to explain, for a year or more than a year, speaking every week for 2 hours. So I'm not going inside to this too much, but you need to understand that each word is being built up like bricks with letters, and each letter also have its own understanding. In the Hebrew tradition, the word Vayikra, the first word of this third book of the Bible, the letter Aleph, the last letter of this word is written down very small, like that. Okay, it's written down like that. Vayikra. The truth is that it's written down even.
Right. We just had Cole mention that on YouTube.
It's written down like that. Okay, you see how I'm reading Vayikra. So now we can read now. Basically, what we can do now, we can read two words. We can read the word Vayikra, that God poses Moses, God spoke to Moses, God called Moses, God is speaking with Moses. But we can also read only the word without this last letter, the letter of the Aleph. It's Vayiker. Now, the truth is that Vayiker is just the opposite understanding of Vayikra. So if Vayikra was that God opposed Moses and tried to speak with him, God called Moses and spoke with him, Vayiker is that something happened accidentally, not by any intention, not that someone tried to speak with someone, but it happened that someone spoke with someone or happened to hear something that I'm looking or understanding. So we have in one word, because it's written down in a very interesting way, okay? The first four letters are very big, and the first one is very small. We have two meanings, and each meaning is the opposite from the other one. One is the meaning of God is speaking with me directly. God is speaking with Moses directly, and he understands speaking one to each other. Vayikra with a full, I will say, letters. And the other one is that something happened accidentally. And also then we understand that God is speaking with me. The main question is I'm listening to what God to have to say to me, to the things that God have to say to me, or I'm not listening. From time to time, there are times that it's barking, I understand God now spoke with me. God said to me something. This is the way I need to go. This is my direction. But there are also things or times that you can't really see, and it seems very accidentally. I will give so the first example that we see, it's in the Bible, okay, where Mordechai is saying to Esther, you have a mission, and your mission in life, that God put you in this place, it's not accidentally he put you in this place. It's not by accident. It's not Vayiker. Listen, that God put you there to help your nation because he aimed this to this situation that you will help, you will assist your nation. I'll give another example. There was a very interesting person that his name was Eddie Jacobson. And he was a normal Jewish, I'm speaking 100 years ago, that he was from the east side of New York. And his parents, when he was a child, they moved to Kansas City. And he became a buddy with another boy there. And eventually, doing military service, they were both in the First World War together. And after the First World War, they opened together a business. And this business didn't really manage. So Eddie Jacobson and his friend, they broke down. They were friends, but they decided to stop with this business that didn't manage. And Eddie Jacobson became, a traveling salesman. And his friends was Harry Truman. And as we all know, Harry Truman became to be the USA president. Now, after the Holocaust, when the Hebrew nation, or the England, I will say nation, and it started to become an issue. Are we going to give a state to the Hebrew nation or not? They all knew, all the Hebrew people around knew that one of the most important, I will say, points or places that people are supposed to get the authority, or that they will become to partnership with this is the American nation, and the American nation is very important. But the state of the Department State of the United States, they were against that. The Truman will declare that he agrees with the Hebrew nation that they will have their homeland. So they did everything. The State Department of the Foreign Department of the United States.
Sure.
That Harry Truman won't meet any lobbyist from the Hebrew nation, and they managed. Nobody could speak with Harry Truman from the Hebrew nation.
Wow!
Until they managed to remember. One of the people managed to remember that Eddie Jacobson is a very good friend of Harry Truman, and they asked him that he will open the door that Harry Truman will speak with Chaim Weizmann, that was the representative of the Hebrew nation, and Harry Truman didn't have the option to refuse to Eddie Jacobson, and he spoke with Chaim Weizmann. And at the end, he also, the United States was the first nation to declare that they approve or they agree that the Hebrew nation will have the Israel state. Again, we say that sometimes God, in accidentally ways, doing all sorts of things, and we just need to know to take those opportunities, I will say, and to understand that God is speaking with us. So there are times that He is speaking with us and saying to us, "You have a mission in life." And we see that it's very clear. And there are times that it seems very accidentally, but still God is organizing here because, and I'm reminding you, Dan, that's things that we spoke before, in other sessions, that God have His aim in life, in this world, that at the end Messiah will come. And He's using everything, like a clock. Okay, we spoke about this. This is the analogy that we have. Like the clock, okay, that I'm holding here, that we know that to stay in the right timing, there are also a lot of circles, or a lot of things that are going the opposite way. And God is using everything to do here in this world. The only thing that we need to do is to listen. The word Vayikra is someone is calling me. So to listen and to know that God is speaking with us. Sometimes He's speaking with us with a very loud,
direct,
I'll say, words. So we see this word Vayikra in a full way, and sometimes He's speaking with us. It seems very small things. One of the things that I'm showing to groups who are coming to Israel. Okay, I'm doing a lot of. I'm explaining the Bible not only through the sessions here, but we're also explaining the Bible through the people who are coming to Israel for a tour in Israel. After all, we have the Bible land. And one of the things that I'm showing is
I got to get there soon.
Viktor Frankl, that was inside Auschwitz. And in Auschwitz, he showed or explained the roots, the foundation of the positive psychologists that we have today with the issue of love. Now you're asking yourself, how come inside Auschwitz, inside this camp of the Nazis,
death camp,
everything was very, horribly bad and everything else, how come he managed to have this mission in life? But he heard God speaking with him inside this, I would say, accidental place, even though it was just the opposite way of love. Okay, those camps, where people were, where they were killing. Sometimes, listen good to the numbers, 40,000 people a day. 40,000 people a day. It's just the opposite of love. But he was listening to what God had to say to him. And today, the world is speaking about positive psychologists that he laid the foundation inside Auschwitz. So we just need to listen to what God have to say to us. And when we are listening, sometimes we see it very loud and clear. Sometimes we say it, I will say, it seems very accidentally, but I'm saying this, okay, but I have a mission, and I know what my mission is. So I'm going on. I will continue on with this issue. So this is something I wanted to teach with this word, I will say, that it's also related to this issue of this end of this week, when we're speaking about Esther and Mordechai and Haman, and we are celebrating Purim. We are celebrating a lot of we're doing a lot of a fun festival, I will say it like that, okay? It's the only day in the Hebrew tradition that you are allowed to drink wine and to go out or to take out all your hidden things inside to say to the world. The only day in the year that we're also drinking a bit of wine, a bit more than the normal, I will say it like that.
Sounds great.
So, but this is what we've learned also with Esther. Esther also, Mi yodea im le'et kazot higat lamalchut. Who knows? Maybe for this reason, God put you to be a queen in this situation to help your nation, and you can't go away or say to yourself, no, I'm very small, I'm very tiny, I'm very bitty. I don't know how to help and what to do. Each one and one of us have a mission. God is calling us. This is the first word of the third book of the Bible. Okay, Leviticus. God is calling us. Sometimes He's calling us loud and clear, and sometimes He's calling us that in accidental ways. And we're saying to ourselves, interesting, He called us. So we need to be open with this. Again, I'm giving it a few minutes of questions. If someone have any questions or someone wants to answer something, to say something, this is your opportunity also. We need to have also, as I said before. Yes.
Rabbi, I have a gentleman, a friend I've met just the other day here down in Seattle, Washington. His name is Cole Younger, and he's asking a question. He says, Rabbi, why isn't Hashem's name in the story of Esther?
Excellent. Those are there are two books, only two books. People, Dan, people can see me, or they just see the stop share?
No, they're seeing. Okay. Now they can see you full screen. Yes.
There are two books, only two books in the Bible that the word of God is not present. The first one is the Song of the Songs.
Yes.
Where it's basically saying, I will say, the relationship between the Hebrew nation and God. And it's being described like the relationship between a woman and husband, okay, when they're in the time of the love. So there, you don't need to say the words of God, because this is speaking about the relationship between God and the Hebrew nation. And the second book is our book, the Esther book, where God is not present in, I will say, in full presency, okay? I'm going back to the page that I showed you before. I will, let's share this again. The page, this is basically what is happening here, that God is showing His presence, but not in a full way, okay? He's showing His presence in a way, as I said, in the way without the word, without the
small
aleph, without the first letter, okay? And He's showing it in a accidentally way. It's all sorts of accidents, small accidents, very political, normal accidents. And even in this place, God is saving the Hebrew nation. And this is one of the things that it's showing. When the oral tradition is asking, where can you find Esther, the Megillat Esther, Esther in the Bible, in the Torah side, in the 5 books, okay? So the answer is the verse, V'anochi haster astir panai. I won't show my face. God is saying to us, I won't show you my face. I'm not going to speak with you directly. I'm going to speak with you accidentally. But even then, I'm going to keep my eye on you, okay? And to save you, that you won't vanish, that you won't diminish. And this is what's happening along with the history. It's interesting. I must remind a very good friend of us also, Aurimas, who is his mother passed away in the last few days.
Oh, and we're
sending him from me a lot of recovery, that he will have a lot of strength for this. And he said to me once that in the Holocaust, the Hebrew nation won. I said to him, how can you say that? He says, no, you don't understand. I know that in the Holocaust, a lot of people, a lot of the Hebrew nation were killed, more than 6 million people. But if you're looking 70 years after that, and you see that we didn't manage to kill all of the Hebrew nations, we need your values, everything in Europe, all the places in Europe that you went out and we don't have the values of the Hebrew nation, we're trying to bring them back today. You built up a very succession nation and country. So at the end, when you're looking at this, in a period of time, you won. And this is something that when you're looking at this in this point of view, it's true, but it's not something that you can say we saw God in our eyes. It's not like in the Egyptian time when the Egyptians also tried to kill the Hebrew nation, and God came with 10, things and showed the Hebrew the miracles to the Egyptians. Here he is showing in this way how God is basically with us, but in accidentally way. He is holding us in a way that he is not showing his face, but he is still keeping and saving us, or shomer alenu. He is guiding us that we won't vanish in the history, because we have very important, I will say, aim, very
mission.
important things that we have to put in this history, in this world, and this is the values of the Bible. More questions? I must say that, this is our first meeting. We're going to see it. We're going to stay. We're going to continue on next week, and I will try every time to teach from the Bible like we did today. If I will summarize today, we learned a bit in the beginning of the Bible. We learned a bit about the oral tradition and the written tradition. We learned that the oral tradition is much more important. It's the beginning of everything. We also learned this issue of how God is aiming that everybody have a mission in our world, and God is speaking with us. He's calling us. Sometimes he's calling us very directly. Sometimes he's calling us in an accidentally way. We'll say it like that. So we also learned this. We learned the word vayikra, and we started to feel, I will say, the Hebrew tradition in a way that you can't find it written down in places, okay? Because when you're reading the Bible, you say, okay, God called Moses. In the Hebrew tradition, it's not that he called Moses. He's calling everyone, sometimes in a direct way, and sometimes in a hidden way, in a way that it's, without showing his face, he's calling people. And I'm blessing all of us. This, I will say, the conclusion that we will manage to listen when God is calling us. And we will manage to understand our purpose in life and how to fulfill it in the right way, in the right manner. So if we have no more question, it's okay. And see you next week. I don't know if you have anything else that you want to say before we are separating. It's okay. If not, so we'll finish next week. We'll meet next week at the same time. Dan, we have another 2 weeks that we are moving the clock, okay? So this is also released.
For those of you that don't know, I was online ready to do this broadcast an hour early.
We have a new friend here.
Our daylight savings time here in the West.
Family soon also with us. I think that if you ask me in the Lithuanian country, I think if I remember correctly, I'm coming to Lithuania another month or something again, and there will be also a meeting with people. We're going to have a face-to-face meeting. So
that's the great news, Rabbi. Looking forward.
Okay, so I will give you the dates and everything in the next few days. And see you next week, all of you. Thank you very much.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye.